Hello and welcome to the Kuribros, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime recap podcast. I'm your host, the runner-up 6 years running for the Most Beautiful Man competition, Phoenix. Joining me, my co-host, the winner 6 years running for the Most Beautiful Man competition, it's Andy. How you doing, man?
I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Shut the fuck up, you've taken everything from me.
You just called me beautiful. I don't know. I'm like blushing right now. If only this was an audio podcast and a visual one, you'd see me just like beat red.
People can imagine.
They imagine how beautiful I am?
No, they're imagining my ire at having to look at your dumb fuck beautiful face every time we do this and just think about, all the glory you've taken from me, because, you don't have to show up to those every time. You can stay home.
Phoenix, I think you're passive aggressively flirting with me.
It's not passive.
But it is aggressive.
Yes, everything I do is aggressive. It has ruined most of my life.
But it's also gained a lot in your life. Like me. Yay.
Anyway, we're here to talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime and the manga, subs and dubs. Let's get into this.
Alright, so last week we did Joey lost his red eyes to a rare hunter. Yugi duels said rare hunter to get his card back, and Joey faced off against a phony baloney psychic in his first Battle City match. What are we going to cover this episode?
Well, I just remembered what we talked about before. You want to just let the people know why your voice might sound a little different?
Oh yeah, I forgot to bring that up. So I was sick the last week, and I didn't have a voice, and this is the first day in almost a week that I've had my voice back. So it's a little crackly, a little scrackly. I hope you can deal with it, and we'll try and do my best to shut me the fuck up.
Yeah, we probably would have rescheduled just to make it sound a bit better, but we had to reschedule our last recording because of me. So would have really thrown us if we have to throw everything aside.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked me up, so I want to just make sure we can get back on schedule pretty post-haste.
Yeah, we're stabilizing. So, because we are the most stable people in podcast entertaining, ready for me to... All right, you don't have to talk like that. You're not my therapist.
What are we covering in this episode?
In these episodes, we're going to be covering Yugi's / Yami's match against Pandora / Arcana. And then after that, we're going to see what Joey is up to fighting off against Yugi's sloppy seconds.
He does kind of do a lot of sloppy seconds in this, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does, which is weird because he made it to the Duelist Kingdom finals. So clearly he's better than they were.
So, it kind of feels like to me, it's like if we're going back to Dragon Ball, how Goku would say he would go to Master Roshi's, and then Yamcha and Tien would go to Master Roshi's a arc afterwards, and then Goku would be at Korin's, and then Kami's, and then eventually by the beginning of Z, there are Korin's and Kami's, and they just do the training he did an arc before, so he's always an arc behind what he's supposed to be.
I think that's a good parallel. I also think it might be that all the unique character designs were given to the people that Yugi duels against.
It's very true also.
So he just wanted to reuse the old ones.
Yeah, I think probably Takahashi was like, I have to make more new characters after making a bunch of new characters. Nah, Joey's just going to duel all of Yugi's sloppy seconds.
Yeah, we gave him one new character who, his design's not that different from Weevil's to begin with. They both have the dumb bowl cut with the bright tealish blue-green hair. They're short. Their silhouettes are pretty close to the same.
I do like Esperoba's character design for what it's worth, even though there's 4 other of them afterwards.
Yeah, really just, they're all just all the failed clones of Weevil, aren't they? Just trying to cheat, bowl cut.
They at least all have 20/20 vision.
Is that a pun? You trying to take the funniest man competition from me now? The only thing I have left? You son of a bitch.
I could never... The amount of times you've made me cry laughing and almost suffocate through laughter, you're the funnier one than me.
Get your money up, not your funny up. Anyway, let's get into this episode 60, covering chapters 100 to 103. The episode opens with some no-name duelist beating up another no-name duelist in an alleyway. Mokuba then steps in to act as the commissioner, because I guess beating up people for losing is frowned upon. And Kaiba shows up. Kaiba offers the guy who's pummeling the dude a briefcase full of rare cards to use against Kaiba in a duel. This is the briefcase Kaiba always carries around, because, I don't know, man's super normal about his card collection.
Yeah, super normal about it.
The idiot doesn't know he's being played and accepts Kaiba's duel, and although we don't see what actually happens, we do see the silhouette of Obelisk briefly appear above the city, and then afterwards, the thug has lost the duel and is screaming in terror. Kaiba is then walking away, being super normal thinking about Yugi, and leaves the man to his mental breakdown.
That man's dead.
He's not dead, but he's not doing well.
You know what's actually funny? I don't think they showed this in the anime. When they did this in the manga, because this is like what Chapter 100 pretty much is in the manga. So that's kind of cool. The duelist, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist, Chapter 100 is just Kaiba being fucking normal about everything. You know the guy the bully was beaten up on? He literally, like, after watching that duel happen and seeing the guy in the shambles he like picks up, I guess, what was supposed to be his rare card that guy was trying to take, and he just rips it up and walks away in defeat. Like, he's like, I'll just get a job as an accountant or some shit.
People take this game way too seriously. Like, I know it's a profession in their world to be a duelist, but Jesus fucking Christ.
God, if only.
Also, surprising to learn that this is what they did for Chapter 100, not like something a bit more impactful for it being the milestone.
Well, I guess it would not be like what Chapter 100 is in the grand scheme of things, but like if kind of like how Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are separated as they are now in the manga, I think when it was all coming out, I'm just assuming this, I have to look this up.
No, you don't.
When Yu-Gi-Oh! Was coming out, I probably should on a podcast.
Yeah, no one cares.
It was probably just Yu-Gi-Oh! And then to break up the fact that the first bit of section, which was quote-unquote Season 0, is Yu-Gi-Oh! And then anything with duel monsters is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist right now. So,
yeah,
probably not actually Chapter 100, but it is Duelist Chapter 100.
That sounds believable.
Hi, Editor Andy here. Can't you tell by my actual not sick voice now? So I did some looking up, and I found that the actual Chapter 100 for the manga is probably actually a little bit more of a bigger duel, as it is the beginning of Yugi and Kaiba's rematch at Duelist Kingdom. The chapter is called Duelist Battle, and it's Kaiba challenging Yugi to the chance to face Pegasus in the Duelist Kingdom match. So thought that was kind of cool. I have these 3-in-1 edition books that I've been starting to collect now more of. So now I'm getting more of this information and then kind of a little bit of different information. So yeah, just wanted to add that. All right, rambling enough. Bye.
Cutting from someone having a mental breakdown, we then cut to someone who is perfectly mentally stable, Merrick, who is being informed that Kaiba is in possession of Obelisk, and he infers that Kaiba must have gotten it from Ishizu. We then see a flashback of Merrick in the Valley of the Kings, using his Millennium Rod to compel a man in a suit to open a safe that's containing the Winged Dragon of Ra. As Merrick is leaving the room that holds the card, he is met by Ishizu, who says she was guided here by her Millennium Necklace. Ishizu says that Merrick is disgracing their family with his actions, and that Merrick says he is freeing their family from their curse by gathering the God cards. The flashback ends by seeing Merrick use the Millennium Rod on Ishizu, but we don't see what he does beyond there being a flash of light. And I guess this is also when we learn that they're related.
Yeah, I think that's actually probably the only time. Well, she might have said that it was her brother Merrick when talking to one of the two people, like Kaiba.
I think she only ever mentioned there being ghouls to them.
Maybe. Gosh, this was only a few weeks ago. We already forget. We're professionals at this.
Oh, we're the best. In the present, Merrick tells the ghouls to ignore Kaiba for now and get Pandora the Illusionist ready. As I said before, it's Pandora/Arcana. His name is Arcana.
So it's Pandora in the sub?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because it's Pandora in the manga. It's just Arcana. Why is it Arcana then?
I don't know. And it was annoying in my notes because I kept thinking of the character as being Arcana and then like, nope, right, Pandora. That's what it is. But I forgot that I was using dub names for all my notes anyway, so I screwed myself, really.
Oh, well, if you're hearing Pandora, think Arcana, because I'm going to say Arcana because that's what I wrote in my notes.
Yeah, I'll try to adjust my brain to read the word differently. So here's where we're going to start a annoying trend in these episodes, where we get brief scenes of characters that don't matter as much as the main cast, and then we'll see them do one thing and then immediately cut to something else. This scene starts off with seeing Tristan leaving Serenity to go watch Yugi and Joey duel in Battle City, but before he goes, Serenity asks Tristan to take her to the city, so the first thing she sees once her bandages are off is Joey dueling. Cutting to characters that matter slightly more, we see Joey, Taya, and Grandpa all walking through the city, and then all immediately split up with Joey going on his own and Taya and Grandpa going to go find Yugi. This is weird because last episode ended off with Taya running after Yugi when he and Joey went in opposite directions. So how'd she end up with Joey, and where did Grandpa come from?
Wait, I thought she was with Joey when he was dueling Esperoba. I think they all met up and then they ran into...
We recorded a week ago. I should really remember this more.
I'm pretty sure she was sitting on the bench. Grandpa did the peekaboo where he grabs her eyes, and she got, as a woman felt scared and for her safety retaliated.
I think anyone can feel scared when an old man does that to them.
That's what I mean.
I think if it happens to me, I'm allowed to be scared.
I mean, valid. And then she gets a call from Tristan, who's like, you have to tell Joey that this message, and it's like, Serenity. And Joey goes, oh yeah, and then draws the card he needs.
Dude, thank God you're here, because now you're saying this, I do remember all of that beforehand. Nope, not a goddamn clue.
Hey, sometimes my brain works and a lot of times it doesn't.
Thank God for your brain and that beautiful fucking face.
Just blow a kiss.
As said, they all split up to go find whatever it is they're looking for. Joey a duel, Taya and Grandpa look for Yugi. Then we cut to the most important character, who is Yami, who is standing in a park looking at the Red Eyes card and thinking about Joey and Joey's ambitions to become a true duelist. About this point, a horror movie begins, as Yami looks to the side and sees a clown. They are alone in the park. The clown was not there before, and now he is. I'm giving Andy a moment to collect himself.
Okay, no, sorry. It's your face, really. You're delivering it.
Comedy is all about the timing. The clown then gestures to a circus tent that definitely wasn't there before backflipping over a bush and disappearing. These are events that happen. Yami, not knowing what clowns are as he is from the ancient past, decides that this is normal in the modern era and follows the clown's directions to walk towards the tent as Taya and Grandpa arrive at the park and try to follow him. They don't know about the clown, so their course of action is normal. Inside the tent, the clown reappears from inside of a box, like the one on the Mystic Box card that Yuki plays. The box is on a stage and he beckons Yami to follow him. Yami does. This is normal. Taya and Grandpa watch Yami enter the box, still haven't seen the clown, but they're fine with the circus tent. And then they try to follow, the box falls apart in a puff of smoke, revealing it to be empty.
Super normal.
This is not normal.
It's very normal.
I
just want to say before we...
You need a minute? This is why I wish it was a little bit of video format. Andy is dying right now. This is killing him.
Because it's... Well, one, this isn't how it goes in the manga. First of all, it's like I won't be. Let me tell you something. But, wow, how you said that, yeah, it's as comedic as you say it is. To be honest with you, I never even thought about it. I'm like that. I was just like, this is just not how it goes. Like when I was watching the episodes, like this is just not how it goes. And I'm typing up all the notes where I'm like, this is the differences in the manga actually. But buddy, boy howdy, that made me laugh. That gave me a real chuckle. My face is red.
So let me translate how this would be to a real life situation. You're out and about, you're getting a text from your friend, you answer, you send a text, you look up, no one else is around. You look left, clown. Clown points to a circus, the birthplace of clowns, and says, go there. And you do. This is the wrong thing to do.
This is there's several red flags before you turned left.
I've seen killer clowns from outer space with you. I know don't follow the clown to the tent.
You don't follow the clown to the tent. You especially don't let her throw pies at you. What are you going to do with them pies, boy?
Clowns, when motivated, will come to you, which is still bad. Don't go to them.
If they're coming to you, you want to run. Make them work
for their dinner.
So, what actually happens in the manga, Yami is not lured by some weird clown. He was actually looking at Joey's red eyes and connecting the dots that the card shop owner was the one who sent the rare hunters after Joey in the first place. He's like, why did someone go after this red eyes? How did they know he had this? And they were like, oh, the card shop owner had the database. So he runs to the card shop, which is abandoned, or closed. It's probably more abandoned. And like walks in and then is greeted with the computer screen of Yugi and the Dark Magician, and then as follows up with what happens with Yugi in the anime.
This is a weird step they didn't need to add to get Yugi to the basement.
This is one of the reasons why this, like, sometimes I and this is my thesis statement for Battle City in the anime. It's very extra for no reason.
I think it might have had something to do with the other shows it was competing with at the time, because in the early days it was like Dragon Ball Z was still being aired, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And I guess Yu Yu Hakusho also were like the bigger animes for the early days. So I guess trying to give it a bit more of that weird / wow factor.
Maybe. I mean, Dragon Ball in Japan was done broadcasting completely, I think, by 1996.
But in the States, I don't think it was.
In Japan.
Yeah, you're right. This would have been Japan too.
And so would Yu Yu Hakusho was also like a pretty 90s anime. So I'm pretty sure that would have been done by then too.
I've never watched Yu Yu Hakusho, so I don't know.
You should. Not the live action one though, but you should. I recommend it. I read the manga actually. So Shonen Jump, the app, finally put it out online, and I like blazed through all of it in like 2 weeks. And yeah, it's a great manga at least. I don't know fully about the anime. At least what I've watched from the anime is great. I recommend.
There's your Kuribros recommendation for the week. I recommend drinking the recommended amount of water.
I also recommend that.
This will have the side effect of making you piss.
Hey, but if you're not pissing just water, you're doing pretty good.
And now I'm going to say a phrase that will get stuck in your brains like it has in mine. My body is a machine that turns liquids into pissquids.
Well, that's going to stick with me for the next week.
Yep. Back in the city, Mokuba informs Kaiba that Yugi's ID signal has vanished. Kaiba infers it is the ghouls and sets his cyber team on finding Yugi. We then see Yami emerge from a new box in a basement, as we mentioned, and he is in front of a computer screen. Then the computer displays Yugi's duelist data, which is his duelist level of 8, his mugshot, and his Dark Magician card. The Dark Magician then changes from its normal attire to have crimson robes, dark skin, and white hair, before it manifests like the monster in Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
Yeah, especially with the kind of smile it has from what was the name of the villain in that? The Cyber?
I don't remember. Was it just like the Cyber Ghost? We have the internet. We can find out.
I don't know. Oh, God. This is going to be the episode digressions, isn't it?
Phantom Virus.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Weird. That name sucks.
It's a good movie, though. I enjoy that one.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. A lot of the Scooby-Doo movies are fun. I like the Alien Invasion.
Yeah, that's a good one, too. That's a great one. Especially with the, I guess I can't spoil that twist for anyone who's never seen Scooby-Doo.
Can't spoil a movie from probably 2002? My brother in Christ, we have had generations of new Scooby-Doo families and plots.
That's okay.
Like, we've rebooted many times.
That's okay. Maybe someone hasn't seen it, and I'm not going to ruin that for them.
I think they made Scooby a god in one.
Excuse me?
I think Scooby-Doo is like an eldritch being in one of them.
Well, this isn't the Scooby-Doo podcast. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. And by the way, I actually also want to point out, Kaiba searching for Yugi, and also Taya and Grandpa searching for Yugi is not a thing in this. So whenever you see that thing, know that it is the anime being extra. Point 2.
I would love it if it was not in the anime, because it takes up so much time, and I hate having to cut away to it.
Me too.
Anyway, back with the Phantom Dark Magician virus. This Dark Magician says that Yami will duel Pandora, who is the true master of the Dark Magician. Yami sees through this bullshit and calls out to stop fucking around, and Pandora then emerges from the shadows. Pandora's a real freak, wearing a red suit with a red top hat, and he has a dress shirt, bow tie, and Harlequin mask that are all colored in black and blue stripes. I don't think these colors work well together.
Nope. It's really kind of clashing.
He has a duel disc on and is holding a Dark Magician and has one in the Monster Zone, indicating he has 2.
At least.
Weird flex. The two duelists then argue about which one is prettier, parentheses, who's better at Dark Magician, but move to a special duel ring in a sub-basement for atmosphere purposes. As they walk, Pandora taunts Yami about Merrick a little. It's really nothing.
Do they ever talk about the fact that, because it seems like they talk about more in the manga that Merrick actually imbues a piece of himself in his ghoul's rare hunter's mind so he can access them. I don't know if that's like taken literally or that's just a way of like they can like kind of put himself in their heads.
The way they've explained it so far is unlike originally, where in the dub, I think they talk about the Millennium Rod being used for like mind control. They talk about him using it to alter the memories of people. And so by altering these memories, he manipulates them.
So how they kind of talk about it a lot in the manga is, oh, he's always watching you, or he's always there somewhere, and I always point to their head. So I always feel like they're insinuating he always like imbues a piece of himself into the rare hunters. So he always know, like not like physically, like he's not putting like his fucking skin in there or some shit or whatever.
He's got like his weird mystic tendrils in them.
Yeah, like it's like he just when he uses the Millennium Rod and like imbues like Millennium energy or whatever, Shadow Realm energy,
dark energy disc.
Oh no, we got to get to there too. Please tell me it's buzzsaws.
Oh, they're buzzsaws, all right, and they buzzing. The special room for the dueling is a lowered ring in a room that has curtains hanging around the walls. It's not very cool atmosphere, really.
No.
Pandora says they will use his own solid vision system to keep Kaiba Corp from learning about this duel. The two shuffle up each other's decks, with Pandora shuffling shotgun style, like an animal. So shotgun style is when like you're like bridging the cards together and just bending the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And I know a guy who does this with cards, and it freaks me out every time he does it. I think, no, I know they're sleeved, but don't.
Actually, in the manga, Yugi comments on it. He's like, you shouldn't shuffle your cards. They will get damaged. And in the dub, he's more like, don't do any sleight of hand tricks, which is, kind of lame, I guess.
In the sub, he does say you're going to damage your cards doing that, and Pandora says, I don't care.
Yeah, he says like, oh, it's like the only he says it more like, this is the only way I know how to shuffle, or like the way I'm used to, so I can't help it.
Yeah.
But we all know there's something up with that shuffle.
Oh yeah. So finally getting to the action, the duel begins, and the two are then pulled back by a moving floor, and their ankles are locked in place.
Oh no.
It gets worse as buzzsaws emerge, positioned at just about ankle height, popping up from the walls, and there are life point markers along the paths of the blades. So, whoever goes to 0 life points is going to have a hard time walking home.
So, obviously 4Kids is a bunch of wet blankets. So, this was not what they did in the dub. They made them blue, like a glowing fluorescent blue, and said if they touch you, you go to the Shadow Realm. Boy howdy, that's not what they do in the manga.
That seems normal.
They basically do the buzzsaws. And boy howdy, will they show what those buzzsaws do a little later.
I do have to wonder if at some point, I don't know what the difference was between like when they were animating this and when 4Kids got to release it. If they just made a game out of trying to make something ridiculously like unremovable for 4Kids to have to try to find a way around.
That'd be kind of funny. I actually hope, I like want to see if they would do that.
That'd be very funny. Anyway, that company fell apart, so we'll never see it now. Another thing that's making this duel weird is each duelist has a box on the floor beneath their own legs, and that box is linked to their opponent's life points, and inside of it is a key to the manacles. So, you can get out by making your opponent go to 0 life points, then the opponent will lose their legs.
No, go to the Shadow Realm.
Oh, right, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, 4Kids is watching.
Yami is fucking pissed about this and says, hey, don't make duels about dying, which is very different from Season 0, where he loved that shit.
He sure loved sending them to the Shadow Realm.
I'm going to send him to the Buzzsaw Realm.
No, you won't.
Pandora has a brief inner monologue about how he's cut the edges off of his Dark Magician cards so he can get them on top of his deck when he shuffles, and this is called, apparently, the Stripper.
Oh, they did not give that name in the manga or the dub.
Go ahead and do a Google of Pandora/Arcana the Stripper. Safe search off.
Trust me, there'll be no bad results with that one.
No, it's going to enrich your life. Anyway, speaking of enriching your life, we're finally dueling. Yami goes first and sets one card before summoning Alpha, the Magnet Warrior, in defense and passing. Pandora summons Legion, the Fiend Jester, and passes. Yami draws and plays a card destruction to make each player discard their hands and then draw that many cards. Yami says he expected Pandora to cheat and has been playing him this whole time. So take that.
Yeah, fuck you. Also, when he draws that, he's like, oh, I got my Dark Magician. You know what else is in his hand in the dub?
What?
Obelisk the Tormentor.
What the fuck?
It is like a quick cut when it's he looks at his hand and it kind of zooms in on the Dark Magician. The last card is Obelisk the Tormentor. I could see his shoulder and his arm.
That has to be an editor's issue.
Oh, it's a fuck up. It's for they knew that. I think they knew what they were doing, but they're like, well, fuck it, who cares?
Do you think they reused one of the cells they used for like Kaiba's hand that had obelisk, and then like just changed the card to be Dark Magician?
I mean, that might be it, but the other cards weren't consistent with Kaiba's deck. It was just the obelisk, the Tormentor. I just think it was one of those things where like, fuck it, we'll just put a bunch of the other edit the other cards in. And at the time when Yu-Gi-Oh comes out, it's not like we have it's not like we could just pause a stream like we can do nowadays. It was probably broadcasted. Can't really pause a live broadcast. I mean, you kind of can if you're taping it, but it's like they probably just thought, oh, they'll never notice until 20 years later.
Fucking wild. Yami then activates the card he set on the last turn, which is Brain Control, which allows him to take control of Legion. He then tributes both the monsters to summon his own Dark Magician and attacks Pandora directly. He does miss out on a little bit of actual damage because if he had attacked with Alpha and Legion, he would have been able to do, I think, 200 more points of damage. But attacking with Dark Magician puts this cool color flash effect on the field, which is better.
And also, it says fuck you to the man who says he's better with Dark Magician, who just got his Dark Magician discarded.
Oh yeah, 100% gotta go for the fuck you. Also, Yami didn't pay life points to activate Brain Control.
Yeah, but that's been established.
Yeah, well, fix it. There's so... Alright, I'm not going to be able to go into all of them because there's too fucking many. There are so many cards that do not do the thing that they do that are played in this episode.
And not only this episode, but also in the Weevil Joey episode we're going to be covering next.
I'm fucking McPissed.
As someone who is a avid Yu-Gi-Oh player such as yourself, I'm sure it really punched your brain.
It's some fucking playground bullshit. I hate it. Anyway, let's get to the part where I hate it. Episode 61, chapters 103 and 104, picking up right where we left off last time. Yami says that when the buzzsaw reaches Pandora, he will feel what his cards felt when he cut them, which is a little intense, Yami.
He's a little not normal.
Yeah. In the city, Tay and Grandpa are trying to find Yugi. Immediately cut back to the action. Pandora draws for turn, plays Mystic Tomato in defense, and sets one card before passing. Yami draws and summons Beta the Magnet Warrior, which has walked right into Pandora's trap, which is the card Dark Renewal, which he activates to tribute Beta and the Tomato to summon his Dark Magician. The actual effect of Dark Renewal doesn't work here because it requires the monster you tribute to be a spellcaster, and Mystic Tomato is a plant.
Idiot.
Stupid.
Fucker.
Bitch. Yami then sets two cards and passes. Pandora also sets two cards and passes his turn. Yami sets one card and passes. Pandora sets one card and passes. Both players set another card and pass. I am so fucking bored by this.
But this is the stalemate of a Dark Magician duel, they say.
Oh, just hit each other.
Just kiss each other.
Both duelists now have 4 cards set, and Pandora takes the initiative by activating Tragedy. Asterisk does not do this card effect, which attempts to destroy the Dark Magician. It summons a guillotine. Dark Magician gets pulled into it.
They showed the guillotine in 4Kids.
Huh. Really hard to edit that one.
They showed the actual guillotine. I'm like, why is that okay?
I guess you could argue it's historical.
My ass, you can argue that.
I mean, I won't go up to bat for France a lot, but they were doing some cool stuff with the guillotine.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree on that one.
Oh yeah, speaking of going up to bat for France, Pandora's from France.
What?
Yeah, we'll get to it later, but in his backstory, he talks about wanting to go back to France where he's from.
I don't remember that in the dub, but they do give an unnecessary backstory that they don't give him in the manga.
Oh, his backstory is so dumb. I'm so excited to share it with you because I want to know if they changed it.
Oh, okay.
Yami plays magical hats to take Dark Magician out of the guillotine, and a hat gets cut instead. Not how that works. Pandora plays Thousand Knives to destroy a hat and chooses correctly the one with Dark Magician, but Yami plays Curse Breaker, which looks just like D-Spell, which destroys the knives and the magical hats. Not so it doesn't work at all, so now we're just Dark Magicians looking at each other again. None of this is how this works. Pandora then attacks, and both Dark Magicians are destroyed, but both duelists simultaneously use Monster Reborn to bring them back. That is not how this works.
That's not how this works at all.
Both players still have one set card. Yami draws for turn and passes without playing anything. Idiot. Yami then prompts Pandora to tell his backstory, and Pandora does, talking about being a great illusionist who was in love/loved by his assistant Catherine. We see him trying to do a trick of being an escape artist that went wrong when a safe he is lifted up in, which is bound in chains, just fucking explodes.
He
It just gets lifted up. Boom! What went wrong? How do you do it that bad?
It was so comically funny. I was laughing when I saw that because I'm like, how did he escape being enclosed in an explosion with just some minor upper facial disfiguration?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Pandora like takes off his Harlequin mask and shows Yugi, but we don't get to see that he's got like some sort of disfigurement, but we never see what it is.
Yeah, that's because in the manga they don't do this. They don't give Pandora Arcana a backstory because you don't need to give all your minor characters backstories. Who cares?
He has more backstory than Weevil does.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
we just
shit.
know Weevil's an asshole who's a duelist. We
That's
know
all
where
you need.
Pandora's from. We know his city of origin. We know his medical history.
I'm losing it. It's over. This show's done.
Well,
No, it's
before we're
continuing.
done, I'm going to try to finish this episode. Pandora survives but was disfigured. He lost his fame, and in his grief, he pushed Catherine away. At his lowest, he was met by Merrick, and we find out later, Merrick never told him his name. Weird. So he's been taunting Yugi/Yami about his master, who he doesn't even know the name of. Whatever. Anyway, Merrick, whose name he doesn't know, promises him that he can use the Millennium Rod to get Catherine's love back for him if he kills Yami, which, holy shit, none of this is okay. Hey, if you kill a teenager for me, I'll mind control your ex-wife.
I don't think they got married.
I hope Catherine's doing great.
Me too.
She deserves the best after putting up with...
That.
I'm gonna hope Pandora was sane before the explosion.
No.
He probably wasn't, though, because I've seen the way he dresses, and you have to be, like, born that wrong.
Just keep reading them.
Yami then tells Pandora to talk to Catherine and speak from the heart, but Pandora is clearly a certified wacko who won't listen to reason and says that Yami is too naive to understand. I don't think he is. I think Yami's onto something here.
I think it's the actual most normal thing he's ever said. Normally be like, just duel her back. Just get her in a duel, and if you win her heart back.
Speaking of
Heart of the cards.
Speaking of keeping it normal, Pandora then indicates a curtain, which becomes backlit and shows the silhouette of a woman, and Pandora says once he wins, the two can return to France together, indicating he believes she has been here this whole time. Heard the whole bit about the buzzsaws and was like, yeah, this is fine. I'd marry someone like that.
Yeah, this is the most normal.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yummy fucking Christ.
This is all anime only.
Oh, we'll get to Christ in a minute. Pandora in her monologues about planning to seal away Yami's dark magician. Tay and Grandpa are still looking for Yugi. Kaiba Cyber Squad are still looking for Yugi. Kaiba then has them look for normal duel rings that use the solid vision system around the city that are in use currently, and finds only one, which Mokuba then runs after to check it. Back in the cool stuff, Pandora sets a card and passes. Yami draws, sets 2 cards and passes. Pandora then plays Beckoned to the Dark, which creates a weird demon-y hand that descends from clouds and attempts to take the Dark Magician away. Yami uses Mystical Ref panel to retarget Beckoned to the Dark onto Pandora's Dark Magician. Pandora then plays Nightmare Chains to fucking crucify Yami's Dark Magician.
Okay, yeah, this was something I also want to bring up. It's a crucifix, isn't it?
Yep.
It's I guess like a coffin-shaped thing in the dub, because, you know, Jesus exists here and nowhere else, apparently.
Weird. So anyway, that's crucified, so it's effectively not on the field. Oddly enough, they just kind of forget that Beckon to the Dark was in play, and it just goes away, so Pandora keeps his Dark Magician.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even catch that one. Good call.
I literally just caught it right now.
Well, good catch right now on air.
Yeah. Anyway, Yami gets attacked and is down to 1,500 life points, just like Pandora is. Tay and Grandpa are still looking for Yugi, but they see Mokuba, and they join up with him to go find Yugi.
Yay.
I can now consolidate them into single sentences describing their bullshit.
Thank God.
Back in the duel once again. This is my own ranting at this point. I wrote, these cuts are worse than the Pandora Bros episode ones. Or Paradox
shit.
Brothers. I got the fucking word P fucked up in my brain. When we did the Paradox Brothers episodes, it kept cutting back between the Kaiba in the castle and Yugi and Joey dueling, and it was annoying then. This is worse.
You could listen to that episode. I forget what episode number it is, but I'm sure you could find it.
Yeah, it's a banger. Anyway, Yami plays Big Shield Gardna in defense, and Pandora summons Doll of Demise and activates Ectoplasmer, which he says is a field spell. It's not, it's a continuous spell. What the fuck? Ectoplasmer lets him sacrifice monsters to deal damage equal to half their power to the opponent. Pandora's Dark Magician then looks back at Pandora with a look on his face that says he just realized how nuts Pandora is.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck, my boss is crazy. I gotta get out of here.
It's crazy how they establish in this episode, and probably one of the only episodes, that these dual monsters have feelings and thoughts.
Yeah. I guess it kind of makes sense, which we'll find out much later why Dark Magician is the one that really does this the most.
Oh, yeah. I understand what you're trying to insinuate that we won't get to for another 70 episodes.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a long time. So, I don't know. Bookmark this line.
Yes.
Pandora launches the Doll of Demise's ectoplasm at Yami, putting him at 700 life points.
Oh, no.
Pandora then launches his own Dark Magician at Yami, but before it can connect, Yami's Dark Magician puts its own ectoplasm in the way to block the damage. Pandora then explains that because he chose the name Dark Magician as a card that could be used by Ectoplasmer, that Yami was able to do it too, but he's surprised that the monster did it on its own. Yami is, once again, fucking pissed.
You'll pay for this, Arcana.
Dan Green, come on the show. I have questions.
I have a lot of questions, but also just want to praise you. You did a great job.
Oh yeah, iconic. Episode 62, covering chapters 105 and 106. This episode opens, and Pandora sets one card and passes. Pandora is being super normal about the sound of the buzzsaws. Yami draws and plays Gazelle, King of Mythical Beasts, but Pandora activates his Shadow Balance trap card in response, which makes Yami lose monsters until he has as many as Pandora does, which is 0. Yami ends his turn with no monsters, but still has 2 cards set. Pandora's turn, and he plays Dark Magic Curtain, which lets each player pay half their life points to summon a Dark Magician from their deck, which Pandora does. Pandora then plays Anti-Magic Arrows to prevent Yami from activating his set cards, which is actually what that card does.
Huh? They did it.
Yeah, they can read.
Wow.
Pandora then moves to attack, but the Dark Magic Curtain reappears on Yami's field, indicating that Yami is also using the card to summon a Dark Magician. But it isn't a normal Dark Magician, it's a Dark Magician who's also a girl.
Oh. But it's also, we love Dark Magician Girl.
Oh yeah, she's great. This is not how Dark Magic Curtain works. It can only summon the exact card Dark Magician. Also, it only lets one player do it, not both.
Well, Yugi had to win, or Yami had to win.
Oh yeah, had to.
And also, we had to bring out Dark Magician Girl.
Oh yeah, marketable. Pandora sees that DMG, that's how we're shortening her name because I don't have the spoons to say her name fully every time, only has 2,000 attack points and continues his attack, but is surprised to see his monster is the one destroyed. Yami reveals that DMG has the effect of gaining 300 attack for each Dark Magician in the graveyard, which Pandora thinks should still only have her at 2,300 attack. But then Yami reminds him of his own first Dark Magician that's in the graveyard. So DMG has 2,600 attack.
It's 500 attack in the dub, and I think in the manga too. But it's one of the two. It's wrong.
I do wish that her actual effect was to gain 500, because buffing by 300 feels really weird.
It kind of feels lazy, but if you're dumping a bunch of Dark Magician in your graveyard, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, but the spirits of both Dark Magicians are behind DMG, and Pandora's Dark Magician is fucking pissed. Yami then takes his turn, attacks Pandora directly, and wins the duel.
Yay.
We never find out what the other set cards were. Who gives a shit? Mokuba and Grandpa are still doing their bullshit when Tristan joins them. Yay.
Did they ever mention how long they've been looking in the sub?
No.
They say they've been looking for Yugi for hours in the dub.
They haven't been dueling for hours.
My notes have said this duel has taken hours in the dub, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, question mark.
Are we supposed to believe a bunch of other bullshit's been happening that we haven't had to watch?
Or they maybe just been sitting and talking for a lot of the time.
Just
they said
hoping the
hours.
buzzsaws would run out of power and just stop spinning?
Time in Battle City is a big gripe of mine in the anime.
Oh, they're operating on clown time. That's why.
Oh. But in general, honestly, it's something I probably want to talk about when I get to the Weevil duel. I don't like how the time is being cut up in Battle City because it doesn't make any sense.
I guess they didn't really set a deadline for Battle City like they did Duelist Kingdom.
No, but it's more established, I feel like, in the manga. But I don't know. Let's finish this episode and I'll get into it.
All right. So all the side characters who don't matter have all converged to try and consolidate their plot relevance to try to match Yami so they can line up in the plot. We jump back to Yami, who is still overpowering them with his raw protagonist energy, and he is telling Pandora about how he betrayed his cards and that's why he lost. So it's amputation time. The box at Yami's feet opens and he gets the key to his shackles and a locator card.
Yay.
Pandora's freaking out and does a funny little jig in the background, but he reveals he had a spare key up his sleeve the whole time. But when he tries to use it, his body locks up. He then hears Merrick's voice telling him that because he lost, he has to face the consequences. And Merrick erases Pandora's memory of the key.
Yeah,
So he can't see it anymore.
It's crazy.
He has given him object impermanence.
It's kind of fucking awesome.
I've
like-
erased your memory of breathing.
Wow, you probably could do that, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, Yami switches back to Yugi, who rushes across the field, unlocks Pandora's shackles just in time and gets him out of the way because Yugi's a sweet boy who wouldn't hurt a fly, and Yami would maim a man for saying he didn't like a card.
In the manga, we actually get this. The buzzsaw actually does hit Pandora for, I guess, a split second, but we do get a nice panel of the buzzsaw going into his ankles.
Like both of them?
No, it only got to the one.
So he's now, instead of being a clown circus theme, he has to be a pirate duelist.
Well, no, it didn't go all the way through. It's just.
Well, what's the
but,
fucking point then?
But well, I'm sure being hitting up your buzzsaw, hitting one of your ankles is gonna hurt.
I mean, you might as well just like try and spin a scooter and crack yourself in the ankles at that point and do more damage.
Listen, that shit sucks.
Oh yeah, that'll hobble you for life.
There was blood. There was blood. But he's free.
Not being grateful, and instead being a freak, Pandora then rushes for the curtain that Catherine was behind, only to reveal it was actually a mannequin.
Wow.
But Pandora doesn't seem to think anything's wrong about this. Which makes me wonder now if there was ever a Catherine, and was it a mannequin the whole time?
Oh, that's a good point.
Because if we only ever saw her in flashbacks, did he just...
And he's crazy.
Yeah. Did he just project all of this?
Arcanas are crazy.
Man is not well. Anyway, Merrick then takes over Pandora to talk to Yugi and explains he also controlled Keith to learn about the present-day holder of the puzzle. Merrick says he only cares about getting revenge on the spirit of the puzzle for his family, the Gravekeepers. It's in this talk that Yugi learns that if Yami gathers the God cards and the Millennium items, he'll be able to regain his memories. Yugi then resolves to fight against Merrick, and Merrick informs him of a ghoul with a God card that'll appear before him soon.
A ghoul with a gun.
A gun!
This is actually the first time Yugi in the manga and is actually meeting Merrick. Like, because the whole Bandit Keith stuff didn't happen in the manga, so the only person who has met, well, obviously not in the flesh, Yami has seen Merrick before.
He's dealt with him.
Yugi did. Yeah, exactly.
Weird. Neat.
Yeah. They also end up going into Merrick's backstory a little more in the manga, where it seems more generalized in the dub.
Yeah, and this they kind of briefly cover. I kind of left a lot of it out because it wasn't super relevant.
No, it's not.
But they talk about how his family was in the Valley of the Kings for generations, and they lived in isolation while the rest of the world passed them by and weren't allowed to leave because of some promise that they'd made to watch over the memories of the pharaoh. And Merrick's plan is to become the new pharaoh himself, so his family doesn't have to keep upholding that.
Yeah.
But that all was very wordy, so I just summarized it like this instead of actually writing notes.
Mm-hmm. He also he shows off his back scars and everything. That stuff all happens at the beginning.
Oh, really? That happens in my final paragraph here.
Yeah, he's coming to Battle City in the manga at this point.
Well, the Peanut Gallery busts in the room, concluding their dumb subplot. We then see Merrick in his lair, deciding to set out for Battle City himself, and he reveals to the audience that the same tablet issues showed Kaiba and Yami is carved onto his back.
Cute.
Episode ends.
Yeah, all that stuff is shown in the beginning of the manga, where he's talking about sending Arcana out to get Yugi, and we get a lot of that backstory then and a little bit more in depth. By the time he's like actually like visibly on the boat and he can see Battle City when we end here in the manga, which is weird because that happens later.
We kind of talked about this before recording, that we felt that these episodes were way longer than they needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this duel should have been a 2-parter with, like, the Merrick stuff thrown in there to fill in, instead of the subplot of everyone playing Where's Waldo with Yugi.
Yeah, this is kind of what I've been noticing with Battle City in general, is some stuff it's kind of makes sense because they're trying to be consistent with the rules, even though they still aren't consistent with all the rules. So some plays kind of go out of order or go a little differently, but that's not necessarily anything new. But they also just add moves that don't really need to be added. Like, I'll talk about one in my Joey Weevil duel, but it doesn't really happen too much with the Pandora Arcana Yugi duel. That's mostly just been bloated with Kaiba, Taya, and Grandpa trying to be relevant for a minute. But it's the same thing with the Rare Hunter duel with Joey, Rare Hunter duel with Yugi. That was bloated a little bit. Like that Rare Hunter Yugi duel was only like maybe 5 moves at most. As soon as he's able to knock out the left hand of Exodia, the duel's pretty much over. And so it's just like, why are they padding so much? I don't get it. But it must be an animation thing.
That, or maybe they're trying to just show more cards because it is a show made to sell a toy for children.
Yeah, but like, I guess, but like they don't. I don't know. Some of the cards are already shown before, so it's not like they're not being advertised beforehand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Who are we to know the ways of animation from the early 2000s?
I guess so. It's probably something that we don't have a perspective on yet.
We're just here to talk about the weird shit.
It is my turn where I get to talk about 2 episodes. Actually, kind of 2.5 episodes because I have to bring in a lot of manga stuff that they change around that I agree more with the manga than the anime. But I get to talk about episode 63, which covers chapters 107 to 109, kind of, I have to note. We open on a seemingly new day of Battle City dueling, as for some reason the dub wanted this to be a multi-day tournament instead of just the all-day event like it is in the manga. They even established that only about 3 hours have passed since the start of the tournament in the manga. In the anime, we see Yuki and My Valentine waiting where they all met up at the beginning of Battle City.
My Valentine mentioned.
Waiting on Joey, who is running late. When Joey finally arrives and greets the two, Mai jokingly asks if Joey is still in the tournament, and Joey brags that he already has 2 locator cards, to which Mai responds that she has already earned 4. Typical Mai girl boss win for her. Yugi adds that he already has 3, so Joey has the least, much to his chagrin. They begin to part ways to continue their tournament journey while Yugi thinks about the fact that the Rare Hunters are watching him and he needs to be ready. As he walks away, we see a strange figure in a frozen pose who is a Rare Hunter that Merrick is using to keep an eye on Yugi. We cut to the Grandpa Moto card shop where Taya and Tristan find out from Grandpa that they missed Yugi, who wanted to get an early start on the day. Taya chastises Tristan for being on the phone too long flirting with Serenity, which, I mean, good for you, Taya. That's the right thing to do. Grandpa offers to help them find Yugi so they can watch him duel. He keeps leaving his business, so they're going to starve. We cut to Joey, who is looking for a duel when he runs into a quote-unquote fan who wants an autograph and plays up to Joey's ego. The fan asks if he can try on his duel disc. Joey lets him. What could go wrong with that? Well, next thing you know, the kid is running off with the duel disc. We cut to the cheer squad, who is looking for Yugi when they see the chase for the duel disc happening, and Tristan jumps down from the staircase he was on to cut off the wannabe thief. They lecture the kid, and the kid gives a sob story about how he had a deck made, and then someone with bug eyes and blue hair stole it. They realize there's only one fucker who looks like that, and that's Weevil Underwood, to which Joey offers to challenge Weevil for the deck back. As they walk away to find Weevil, we see the kid have a sinister look on his face before running into an alley to meet the cheating insect known as Weevil. The only difference I'll say with this in the manga is that the kid steals Joey's duel disc while he's having a lunch break. Like, he takes his duel disc off so he can eat, and the kid like snatches it from behind him. And also, Tristan is not with the gang. It's actually Bakura, because Bakura actually does things. Kind of. Tristan is off on a secret trip to see someone who we haven't been properly introduced to in the manga, which we'll talk about later. Something of note they bring up before going to find Weevil is that Grandpa asks Joey if the kid stole any of the cards from his deck and that he should double check it. To which Joey replies, "Why would he trick me? Everyone's so cynical nowadays, and that you gotta have faith in people, and if you can't trust people, how can you trust anything?" They go on to bring up the fact that he wants to be able to be a strong duelist like Yugi and carve a future for himself and Serenity too. Taya asks how Serenity is doing, and Joey responds that the operation was a success, but she doesn't have the courage to take the bandages off, so she still can't see. He says if he can win the tournament, he is going to see Serenity and show her the face of a guy who has won his future. Anyway, in the anime, we cut to the kid going into the alley to find Weevil Underwood, who asks if he did what he asked of him. The kid asks for his reward, a super rare card. Weevil gives the kid a common insect card and then sprays him with some kind of insect-themed spray before running away. It's like some sort of spider thing, goo thing in the anime, but it's actual pesticide in the manga.
It's fucked up.
It's kind of fucked up.
I was going to make a joke, but now that I know that, it's a little fucked up.
Weevil is looking forward to taking on Joey after being humiliated by the hands of Yugi way back in Duelist Kingdom. We cut to the hospital to see Serenity sitting in her hospital bed when a door opens, but no one is in the doorway. We then see a nurse who's looking for a small child who seems to be hiding. She asks Serenity if she heard anyone come in, to which she replies no, she has not. Thankfully, she didn't ask if she saw anyone, because that would have made me really piss myself laughing.
I thought that would have been funny.
Apparently, the kid is supposed to get x-rays done, but is scared too. As the nurse leaves, Serenity tells the boy he can come out now. The boy is surprised, but Serenity says she could hear him under the bed breathing. He asks why she didn't turn him in, and Serenity says she was scared of some of the tests in the hospital too, so she understands. He asks how he can repay her for helping him, and she asks if he can check out the Battle City live stream to see how Joey is doing. This is much different from the manga, as we cut to Tristan, who is actually with our new pal, the King of Dice, Duke Devlin. Tristan wonders why Duke is coming along, to which Duke responds he feels he owes the gang a favor, so he wants to help.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. They end up at the hospital to pick up Serenity, who we finally meet properly in the manga. Like, she's not been shown properly since this point, until this point. Tristan says he's picking her up to go watch Joey duel, and that Joey wants her to see her future. Wow. No bit about Tristan wanting to date Serenity so far in the manga. Much better than what they decided to do in the anime. Speaking of the anime, we cut to the gang looking for Weevil, where the kid said he was when suddenly Weevil appears. Joey challenges Weevil to a duel. Taya reminds Joey that Weevil is underhanded and to watch out. Weevil ups the locator card ante to 2 locator cards instead of 1, which would knock Joey out of the tournament, but it would also knock Weevil out of the tournament. Joey accepts, of course, because why not? Before the duel begins in the manga, we cut back to Tristan convincing Serenity to come with him to find Joey. Duke is confused because how is Joey winning a card game going to help Serenity? If Serenity is going to learn to be brave, she has to do it herself, right? And with a rare Tristan W in the manga, Tristan responds that sometimes people have to help each other out and that you can receive courage from other people. Duke thinks to himself that that's what he came along to find out. And Serenity even admits she is scared if she takes the bandages off, she won't see anything, let alone her brother's face ever again. Tristan encourages her to come along anyway, and that she doesn't have to take the bandages off if she does not ready to. He reminds her that Joey is fighting for her and that if she's with him, she can give him courage too. That's enough to convince Serenity to come along. Sorry, I know I keep going back and forth on this. This feels very important to the story, and there are very few moments so far where I give Tristan any props. At least he isn't trying some scumbag shit like in the anime. Going back to the anime, though. The duel between Joey and Weevil commences, and Joey opens with the Swordsman of Landstar and a face-down card. Weevil summons Flying Kamakiri number 1 and attacks, which Joey plays Shield and Sword, the magic card, which is not how that works, but the effect activates either way, and Swordsman of Landstar destroys the insect. Flying Kamakiri number 1's effect activates, and Weevil is able to special summon Flying Kamakiri number 2.
How come Weevil didn't just attack with number 2? He's still in the battle phase, and number 2 is bigger.
Because this is the anime, and also this is not what happens in the manga, so it shouldn't happen anyway. The whole Swordsman of Landstar, this whole Flying Kamakiri, not in the manga, but it doesn't really matter.
That's a shame. I like Swordsman of Landstar. Funny little guy.
Yeah, I like him too. He'll be back, but just not in this duel. We cut to anime Serenity being blind babysitter, and the kid is looking for Joey's duel. The kid sees who Joey's up against, but Serenity isn't worried. I mean, he came in second at Duelist Kingdom. We get back to the duel, and it's Joey's turn. Joey sacrifices his monster to summon his newly acquired monster Jinzo, who is also not played in the manga. He destroys Weevil's monster, and then Weevil responds with a face-down defense monster, which Joey attempts to destroy, but it is Kizatai, which is a leech monster that equips to Jinzo and increases Weevil's life points by half of Jinzo's attack points, which is 1,200. Joey isn't worried as he destroys the next face-down defense monster that Weevil plays, which is another monster that bumps Weevil's life points up by 500. Joey's turn again, and Weevil's life points go up to 5,700. Joey draws into Panther Warrior, which he plays. This is actually Joey's first move in the manga, but I don't think Panther Warrior's effect is established, so it makes more sense to summon him now. Panther Warrior needs a tribute to attack, so in a well-thought-out move on Joey's part, he sacrifices Jinzo to have Panther Warrior attack and destroy Weevil's throwaway defense monster. Ridding the leech from Jinzo and stopping the bump up in Weevil's life points, Weevil takes the kid gloves off and plays Larva Moth and then combos with Cocoon of Evolution. A nice throwback from the first duel with Yugi. It is also an anime-only move. Weevil is trying to summon the Great Moth from the Duelist Kingdom duel. I don't think Joey has a Summon Skull or that Maku the Magical Mist card, so he's going to have to figure something else out. Weevil then activates the Reckless Parasite spell card to bring out a Parasite Parasite from Joey's deck. But wait, Joey doesn't play with insect monsters, so why would he have that card in his deck? Maybe Joey, at least in the manga, should have listened to Grandpa Moto when he said to check his deck to see if anything was out of sorts. Joseph? Joey connects the dots and realizes the kid who stole his duel disc must have slipped it in. The gang calls foul on Weevil, but he plays coy and says it's not his fault Joey didn't check his deck before dueling. Actually, what happens in the manga is he doesn't play a spell card. Joey just draws into Parasite and is, I guess, forced to play it. Also, the artwork's very different in the manga, and I'm also pretty sure the sub than it is in the dub. Now, Joey's Panther Warrior has been infected by the Parasite card, and he can't do anything to stop the Great Moth from hatching. Weevil plays a face-down card and ends his turn. Weevil informs Joey that he can't use Panther Warrior's ability because every monster he summons is infected and can't be sacrificed. Joey plays Tiny Guardian, which gets infected too. Joey tries to attack the Cocoon of Evolution, which Weevil conveniently forgot to put in defense mode. But turns out, Joey fell into another bug trap as Weevil plays the Insect Barrier, stopping all insect monsters from attacking. But wait, Joey's monsters aren't insects, but with the Parasite card, all his monsters automatically become insect types. What a devilish combo. Grandpa Moto reminds Joey that there is probably a way that he can use this disadvantage to his own advantage, but it's Weevil's turn, and he plays Legul, which has an ability to attack Joey's life points directly. Joey's life points are down to 3,700. A few turns pass, we kind of blaze through, and we're down to one turn for the Great Moth. Joey is feeling low, and Tristan tries to butt in, but Joey realizes this is how he was when Yugi was facing the seemingly impossible task of being the Exodia Rare Hunter. Joey remembers a true duelist keeps his cool and trusts his deck, and Joey plays Alligator Sword in defense mode and one face-down card. Alligator Sword is affected, and it's time for Great Moth to be hatched. Joey is facing one of the biggest insect monsters as the episode ends. So the biggest difference in this duel is, and in the manga duel, is Great Moth is never played. Weevil never uses that card combo. I get some of the changes they made of the rules' sake, but some of this padding, again, feels a little unnecessary to stretch out the duel. Moving on, we are hitting episode 64 and covering chapters 109 to 110. We pick up where we left off with Joey facing down the original bug baddie, the Great Moth. Weevil goes after the Alligator Sword, and it's destroyed. A remainder of their life point totals are on the screen as Weevil is at 5,700 and Joey is at 3,100 after the Legul onslaught of a few turns. Weevil feels safe with his Great Moth as he reminds the gang that only the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and Gate Guardian have enough attack power to overpower his Great Moth.
He did forget about Dragon Master Knight and Five-Headed Dragon.
Oh, well, I guess those were only really shown in that one filler. So I guess it doesn't count because it wasn't really shown in like a Duel Monsters game.
I think we have a moral imperative to keep Weevil down.
I mean,
and let him know when he's wrong.
You're right. I shouldn't have played Devil's Advocate. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you, you beautiful man.
Thank you. Either way, I think Weevil's pretty confident Joey has neither of those cards in his deck or either of these other cards that you mentioned in his deck.
Surprise, fuckface. When we beat those Paradox brothers, I kept something extra.
I can't summon it, though. I didn't take the other three.
Ah, shit.
There's been more back and forth with Serenity the kid in the hospital, but I don't feel like cutting back every time. So basically, the kid is worrying and projecting his pre-established fears onto Serenity through the duel, and Serenity is challenging that doubt and trusting Joey. That's been it for the last episode and this. So whatever. It's Joey's turn, and he draws a card that might help him out as he plays it face down in the back row and switches all of his monsters in attack mode. Cheer Squad is shocked by this move, but Grandpa Moto says he might see what Joey is trying to do. Weevil plays a monster in defense mode, attacks with Leg Ghoul to bring him down to 2800. Weevil thinks he has this duel 1 as he attacks Great Moth, like the Parasite monster with Great Moth, because it only has like 500 attack. But Joey activates the trap card Skull Dice and rolls a 2, unfortunately, which cuts Great Moth's attack in half, but also reveals Graceful Dice to have his Parasite card attack strength grow with the roll of 4 to squash the Great Moth. Wow. Didn't need Summon Skull or Mock You. Just used some half bullshits. Great Moth has been destroyed and Weevil's life points go down to 50. Oh. Weevil plays an insect monster and the spell card Eradicating Aerosol to destroy Weevil's other pre-established face-down monster, which is Pinch Hopper, using Pinch Hopper's ability to special summon an insect monster from his hand. Weevil summons his rare card auntie, Insect Queen, whose ability is to have her attack power grow with every insect on the field. Now having 3,200 attack points, things are looking a little rough for Joey. Weevil sacrifices Leg Ghoul for his Insect Queen's ability to make her stronger and destroys Joey's little guardian, bringing him down to 1,000 life points. And then she lays an egg, which lets her keep the extra attack after that monster was destroyed.
And she's super fucking gross about it.
Oh, absolutely. It's all gross. And also, she doesn't do that feeding shit in the manga. She does do the larva shit, though. Joey plays one face-down card, then quickly ends his turn. Grandpa Moto suddenly reminds Joey that he didn't switch his monsters into defense mode, much to Joey's sudden realization. Weevil takes advantage of the mistake and summons Cockroach Knight to feed the queen, and it gets returned to the top of the deck, so he can do this move over and over and over again. Weevil attacks the Panther Warrior, but Joey had his own trap he wanted Weevil to fly into. Joey reveals the trap card, Magic Arm Shield, which uses one of Weevil's monsters as the attack target instead of Joey's. Weevil goes down to 3,250 life points. Insect Queen lays another egg. It is now Joey's turn. He puts his monsters in defense mode. Weevil does the Cockroach Knight combo and attacks Panther Warrior and lays another egg. Joey feels in a pickle and isn't sure how to get around the combo Weevil has set up. Tristan reminds Joey, because remember, Tristan is with Joey in the anime. Tristan reminds Joey that he is fighting for Serenity and she believes in him. Everyone shows their support for Joey in this nice moment. Joey gets a Heart of Cards moment, plays one face-down card, and summons Gearfried the Iron Knight, one of my favorite OG cards. The Parasite tries to infect him, but won't let him because the metal armor on Gearfried. Gearfried is able to attack and goes after the eggs, which lowers Insect Queen's attack. That is the weakness of Weevil's combo. It relies on the Insect Queen's ability to lay eggs. Weevil plays Soldier Ant and activates Soldier Reproduction to multiply the ants to boost Insect Queen's attack, at least momentarily, and goes in for the attack when suddenly Joey springs the trap that he placed last turn, Grave Robber, which takes that aerosol spell card from earlier to exterminate the Insect Queen. Joey finishes his duel by destroying one of the eggs and limiting the rest of Weevil's life points, which I don't think the math adds up there, but whatever. Joey gets the 2 locator cards and Weevil's Insect Queen as the reward for beating Weevil in Battle City. Weevil is knocked out of the tournament, thank fucking God. The kid in the hospital is now suddenly courageous enough to get the x-rays done, and we see Yugi, who sees Joey's victory on one of the TV screens showing off the live stream and is feeling really proud of him. We end the episode with a shot on the mime from the beginning of the last episode and Merrick letting him know it's time to take out Yugi. Duel plays a little differently in the manga, but it's got the same goal, just the rules seem to be a little more consistent, kind of, but that's really it. So, what do you think about all the episodes we just talked about? Because boy howdy, we gone through a lot.
They were way longer than they needed to be. I hate all the dumb plots with the sub-characters that don't matter because just kept cutting the scenes of them running through the city. You wasted time animating those. I don't care. Show me Duel.
Yeah, this was a lot, and I didn't think this episode would go on as long as it did, but it has. So, sorry about that, guys. Blame the anime.
I don't care about Arcana's dumb Case of Explosions backstory. I don't care about his not girlfriend who may or may not have existed.
I didn't need to see Great Moth. It really didn't matter in the end. It wasn't really like that much of a game changer either way.
We learn about Merrick's relationship to Ishizu as like a throwaway line.
Yeah, they don't really even show that off in the manga. They kind of do more about. Like, they talk about his backstory pretty in depth, but like not enough where it needed to be like even added more in the anime.
And if we know that he can use the Millennium Rod to manipulate people, and he got away from Ishizu, how are we supposed to like think he's manipulating her now? But he himself doesn't say anything to make us think that's a possibility. So like, why?
I don't know. Lots of questions, no answers.
I don't think these were super great episodes. I like to see Joey. I like what he's doing with seeing Gearfried the Iron Knight. I like seeing Dark Magician Girl for the first time. But ultimately, I don't think these are that impressive on the rewatch.
No, this is actually more of an enjoyable read than it was a watch. I had a lot more fun watching, or I guess reading the manga with this. So I will say they're not bad duels. It's just I think the anime bogged them down a little harder, and that's something I'm a little fearful for the remainder of Battle City, because Battle City is a great arc, but I think the anime is padding it for some weird reason. Oh well.
I guess they were trying to get to that like 52 episodes a season thing.
I don't know. It's truly something I have to think about, or have to maybe do some research into. But yeah, Takahashi cuts the fat a lot, and I appreciate that as someone who likes the fat cut and just gets the main meat and bones of something, because it just makes everything a lot easier. You get enough of Pandora's personality as he is. You get enough of Weevil's personality as he is. You don't need to do all these backstories. We don't need to see Taya all the time. We don't need to see Serenity doing Serenity things all the time.
We don't need to introduce a new hospital kid with our pre-existing hospital kid.
Like, seriously, like Serenity isn't even shown until this duel, and it is only for maybe a couple pages to establish that she's leaving the hospital and seeing Joey. I liked it with the Rare Hunter in the last couple episodes. Like, I think that made more sense than, or not really made more sense, but I think that had a little bit more of emotional weight to it for Joey's character than what they did in the manga. I understand why they did it the way they did in the manga as opposed to the anime. So that's a time where I appreciate what the anime did, but this was so unnecessary. So it is what it is, but yeah, I would say these were more of a drag to watch, but not a drag to read.
But this does mean that when we get inevitably hired to do the remake, we can fix it.
Oh, I can't wait to fix it. I'm going to make the mimes say fuck.
I'm going to make them show us Mai's duels.
That's fine. That'll be the filler. We can make my duels happen in filler.
Yeah.
Every filler is a my duel, but it's rightfully so.
I'm actually going to make them load bearing. You have to watch them. You can't skip it.
Yeah, it's important to the story.
I'm going to put the Merrick backstory in the same episode as Mai's.
Okay, sounds good. Well, just to not keep this all going any longer. So next episode, we are going to be finally covering one of my favorite duels in the entire series, the Yugi versus the Rare Hunter, who is a mime, who has a special card that has been alluded to. He has an Egyptian god card. And then we are going to be covering Joey versus another Yugi Sloppy Seconds, Mako Tsunami. I think that's everything, right?
He's even more than just Yugi Sloppy Seconds. He's Yugi's sloppier seconds, because we know Mako came third in the tournament that Weevil came first in.
Ooh.
So Joey is punching down harder.
But he gives him, I think, more of a run for his money than Weevil does, honestly, if I'm remembering correctly.
I actually think Joey versus Mako may have been one of the actual first episodes I watched as it aired.
Maybe. Who knows?
I think I watched it when I was like on vacation or something. Anyway, regardless, that's what we'll cover next time. Right now, we are people you can find on the internet. You can find me at twitch.tv/PhoenixFarce or youtube.com/PhoenixFarce. I stream gameplay, mostly card games, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, MTG Arena, Marvel, Snap, and sometimes I do other stuff. I'm planning on playing, or I might have already started playing by the time this airs, the Assassin's Creed series, doing some Fallout, because I'm getting a little bit of interest in that, and also they are on sale. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Papasergi, PAPPASCRGI on Instagram. You can find Kuribros on, the Twitters, on the Instagrams, on YouTube eventually, and all that kind of stuff. And that's really it. So, signing off, my name's Andy.
I'm Phoenix.
Giddy up, and goodbye.
I think that clown wants me to go over there. I'm going to follow him.
No, don't do it. Don't. Oh. Phoenix, no!